A very warm good afternoon to everyone, and I welcome again to FinSec Conclave 2023. A lot of knowledgeable session and interaction are ongoing, and let's continue the same sync with upcoming session Zero Trust, where you are in the journey and roadmap ahead. Emphasizing all users, devices, and network traffic are potentially hostile and should be verified and authenticated before granting access to the system or data. Is it a good practice? I would say it's the best practice. Moving ahead, let me call upon the panelists for the session, Mr. Manoj K. Srivastav, CISO Future Generali, India Insurance Company Limited. A big round of applause, guys. Mr. Shankar Ramarakhiani, CISO and Head Business Continuity, IIFL. Mr. Alan Go, Sales Engineering, DigiCert. Mr. Radhesh Valvadekar, Manager System Engineering, Advanced Technologies for India and SARC Fortinet. Mr. Manoj will be the moderator of the session. I would request him to kindly take forward and seek the elaborated introduction of the panel and initiate the session. Over to you, Mr. Manoj.
Yeah, thanks, Puneet. Hi, good evening, everyone. So, my name is Manoj Srivastav. I'm CISO and DPO for Future Generali. I try to keep my organization safe and secure, the data protected. Along with me, we have Alan. So, I request Alan to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alan. Alan Go. I grew up in Malaysia, but right now I'm staying in Australia. Happy to be here. I'm the principal sales engineer for DigiCert. Basically looking after all the technical sales, consultancy, engine installation. But yeah, happy to be here after 5 years, I think. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Alan. So, I request Shankar to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, everyone. So this is Shankar, and I'm the Group Chief Information Security Officer and also heading the BCP for IIFL. So when I say IIFL, we are one of the largest financial services. Okay, except banking, we are in non-banking finance corporation, which is tightly regulated by RBI. We are also in housing finance, which is regulated by NHB. We are also in the broking business, both corporate and retail, which is under the purview of SEBI. We are also doing insurance broking, so again IRD, and a couple of years back we are also in the health and wellness sector, Livelong 365, which is a startup which we founded. So my role is to ensure information security management of the organization is well maintained, and ensuring all the controls are in place to protect the organization from all kind of attacks. That is one of my KRA. Important other KRA is to keep the regulatory silent, over the year. So, year on year, so that there are no advisories or, adverse comments from them. And of course, keeping the risk and the audit issues under control. Yeah, so we'll look forward for this session. Thanks.
Thanks, Shankar. So, over to you, Radhesh. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Radhesh Valvadekar. I'm Manager System Engineering at Fortinet India. I'm taking care of the advanced technology business of Fortinet. Most of you guys in the room might be knowing Fortinet only as a firewall and UTM company. So I am the one who is responsible for all non-40 gate product, which is the firewall and UTM. So if you talk about the DDoS, WAF, ADCs, SASE, all these product lines comes under me. So I have been with Fortinet for past 12 years, and I also have 4 patents on my name, which are signed by at the US Patent Trading Organization. So for today's discussion, one of the interesting area that we are working at Fortinet is on the zero trust part, and that's what the today's discussion is, and I'm looking forward for the discussion. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Radhesh. So, if the discussion would have before COVID, then the flow would have, totally different. But post-pandemic, the situation, the digital transformation, security architecture, it's totally different. Now we are living in a world where, the boundaries are no more. We are into cloud, rather I say multi-cloud and hybrid environment, the business is going agile. I mean, earlier everything used to come to IT, and IT used to take a call whether what procured server, yes or no, how to develop the application, how much time will it take, but now business, they are also coming up with a lot of integration and solution on SaaS based. And being from security, security has to ensure that the visibility, authentication, authorization, everything is being properly done. Uh, when we talk about, the core concept of security now, so we have two major challenges, one data, one user. When we talk about data, then, the data is in buckets, in storage devices. So a set of right encryption and key management has to be there. We'll not discuss on that topic. Our topic is something different. Now coming to user, we don't know how much users we have because, a lot of users are from supply chain. We have a lot of workers coming and working for us from different location, from different geography, from different network, and logging into our network to perform the business required jobs. So one thing becomes very critical. At every time, we have to ensure the right set of person, the right set of user has the right set of access. I mean, if the user has only view access, it has to be only view. And then that's how, the concept of core zero trust comes into picture. It's not about we don't trust. I mean, irrespective of you're working from home, from a supply chain network, or from office, you have to be authenticated, not once, but every time. And then that's the fundamental concept of zero trust. If we go back to our ancient age, the concept of zero trust and also encryption is there. You go to, maybe 1,000, 10,000 years ago, the core concept is there. You will find these things. Because zero trust is not a technical solution, rather it's a philosophy. I mean, if you implement one firewall, you say that, no, I'm zero trust compliant, it's not possible. You have to have a set of technical controls, you have to have right set of strategy and right set of, operational controls as well to ensure, you're complying to zero trust. And this will bring down the risk to a residual or acceptable level. In the month of April 1994, first time Stephen Paul Maas, I hope, I don't exactly remember the name, he come up with a thesis on zero trust model. And see, after 30, 40 years, that is into practice. So now, coming into, the right set of discussion, I don't want this to be a panel discussion, rather more interactive. So I'll ask, Shankar, what are the, principles of zero trust?
Thanks, Manoj. I think you set the context very well, right? So, zero trust honestly is not a new thing, but it's not a new thing, right? But COVID has, fueled that, digital transformation. Because of that, the way we operate business, the way user used to access our applications have, there is a drastic change, right? So, security is very important considering the, threat landscape which has changed, right, over the years, right? It is not only, limited to any industry. So attackers are there, after all, each startups, BFSI sector, retail, e-commerce, telco organization, power organization, right? And we have seen the impact. So it is very important to have a strong approach. So I would say zero trust, according to me, it's not a, it's a standalone product, right? You cannot do. So no partner in the world, no vendor in the world will tell that I will implement zero trust for you. So it's a methodology, it's an approach of multiple tools, multiple technologies, processes, and people. And of course, sustaining over the period, right? Security is not a, overnight work, and it takes years to build that security, right? We become bottlenecks, that's the harsh reality. You cannot do everything on the day one. And, but considering all the compliance, obligations, investments that we get from our, overseas partners, your shareholders, board of directors, your end users, everyone it's now, digital friendly. So they know the repercussion of, data getting breached. And Manoj rightly says that application is important, data is important, user is important, right? And you need to build the security around these areas. So one of the strongest principle, or the first principle is to have a strong architecture. So security architecture plays a very important role, okay, in the overall zero trust journey, right? Stronger the architecture, stronger the, footprint, we will build it, right? So when you're implementing anything in the environment, security has to come with the technology or the business team to ensure a strong security architecture is built. That is one of the principle. The second principle is that, deny access by default, right? Do not give access to everyone, right? Always have the principle, access based on the user need. That is very, very important. So, and we need to continue to review those accesses. The way the businesses operate these days, so traditional time we were limited only to the on-prem network. Today, you have SaaS-based applications, you have platform as a service, you have on-prem network, as you rightly said, you have multi-cloud, hybrid cloud. You don't know users are coming from where, right? So it is very important to put a strategy in place to ensure, okay, right accesses are given to that users. The third important is the micro-segmentation, right? It is a new concept. So I'm coming more from the cloud perspective. So if you want to contain the impact, right, of the incident, micro-segmentation is again one of the strongest, zero trust, principle. The fourth most important principle is the visibility. I'm sure nobody, in the world has a complete visibility over its network, right? So we cannot reach 100% because businesses are doing a lot of things on their own because they're after all business enablers. Shadow IT exists in the organization. So visibility on your overall assets, overall users, overall your, network, overall your, subscriptions plays an important roles. And of course, you cannot do 100%, 95% you can maximum reach. The last is nothing but the partners. Partners plays a very, very important role, okay, in the overall success of the organization. You cannot do much without the partners. Could be your outsourcing vendors, cloud service providers that are very, very important. So doing their due diligence is also part of the zero trust, right? I cannot secure everything with the technology. The right processes has to be in place. If partner is breached and our data is with them, you are breached. You cannot go back to RBI that your vendor got breached and it is not, your fault. RBI will take up very harsh with you. It is our data. We become accountable. They are responsible. So right set of people, processes, technology, following the proper architecture, and it is a journey. You cannot do, okay, in 6 months, 4 months time, right? And of course, risk assessment will play an important role. You need to identify and, prioritize your severity of the assets. You need to identify your crown jewels, which, assets you want to secure first. Attacker will not have much interest on the assets which does not have a monetary value, okay, impact or brand reputation. One small incident will jeopardize the entire organization. We have seen in the past. So, and we need to understand one thing, nobody is secure. Okay, today and tomorrow, most of the organization will suffer a, breach, but how quickly you can recover, that is also should be a part of your strategy. So strong architecture, strong access, strong vendor risk management, skilled people. You require good skilled people to, ensure required security controls are implemented. You need to have a good visibility. So if you're on cloud, you need to have CASB solutions, cloud security posture management. If you're regulated environment, appropriate risk assessment has to be done. It has to be done in spirit, not in paper. So these are some of the principles, and you need to start a baby step approach. Okay, take the buy-in from the management. That is also very important. You can't do anything, okay, without the appropriate approvals. Board knows it, and cyber security will always be a hot topic because we are the control function. We are the one who are securing the information. Always will be a firefighting situation, but do your best, and I'm sure, okay, each and everyone, okay, will play an important role, in the overall journey. We are not, bottlenecks. We are business enablers actually these days. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Shankar. Yeah, thanks, Shankar. So fantastic, view. So Rajesh, coming to you, Shankar has spoken about a lot of, controls. But when we talk about, the conventional security and the zero trust, what are the key differentiator from your point of view?
Okay. So if we talk about the conventional security, generally what we were actually looking at was putting a security control at the perimeter there, and then once that particular user or a particular device is on your network, he get access to almost everything. Now, when we are talking about zero trust, so in zero trust, what exactly we are doing is if it, let me break down the word zero trust itself. If we talk about trust, trust has two entities. So in the IT world, these two entities are the user or the device that is going to access, and on the other side, you have the data. In the conventional way, I used to do the data classification. I have given a certain asset tag to all the data, what is critical, what is not critical for me. And I might be doing, for certain applications, I might be doing only the authentication at the application level. I may be not doing that authentication at the network level. Or the other way around. So for certain applications, I might be doing authentication at the network level. Let's take an example of traditional VPN. I just authenticate at the network level, but while accessing the application, it might be a single sign-on, or I'm not doing any, again, the revalidation of that particular session. So the new principles of zero trust that are coming into picture is right from when the user is onboarded onto the network till the time he accesses the backend application, you have to validate each and every communication, authenticate it, revalidate it every time. Even if he is authenticated successfully, you still keep on doing the revalidation. Because if the posture changes, then you have to again kick out that session out from your network. One of the point Shankar was mentioning, he has rightly mentioned almost all the key principles. I would like to add one more key principles on the top of it, and that key principle is how do I also have an incident response on the top of zero trust. If something goes wrong, visibility is one part of it. After getting that visibility, how do I automate the incident response, and how do I fastly respond to that particular threat? The other part of zero trust is, one part is if we are talking about enterprises, that is one thing, but when we talk about financial institute, this is majorly B2C kind of a scenario. If we are talking about B2C, the end user or the end device is not in my control. So how do I have zero trust there? So that is again a different complete arena where the end user device is not in your control. You can't put an agent there, but still you need to have a client-side security. So what all security controls can be there? So this is how in the direction we are moving today, and this is how it is different from the traditional security. To put it simple, traditional security, one-time authentication, access to everything, zero trust, every time validate at each and every step.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Rajesh.
Manoj, 1 minute. So, sorry to cut you. So, I think Rajesh said very well, right? So, incident response, right? It's very, very important. So, RBI, says to NBFC, HFC, to organization to adopt the cyber resilience, not cyber security, because today and tomorrow anything can happen, right? Of course, cyber security has to be there, but cyber resilience is a skill that each and every organization need to learn. CISOs need to learn, board needs to learn. Should there be any incident like ransomware, how quickly you can turn the business on? That's the art or skill or processes that needs to be, understood and implemented. No one wants a downtime, right? Being in the broking business, it matters in seconds. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 1 minute down, there is a direct loss to the organizations. People using e-commerce apps. So it is a direct loss when the cyber incident creates the business disruption. So if the incident happens, how resilient you are as part of your zero trust, how you can bring back the business up and running in a minimal stipulated time, that is very, very important. Thanks, Manoj. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. So, in fact, don't try to be strong, rather, try to be cyber resilience. How soon you can detect, how to contain, and how soon can you recover. That is very important. That was one of the point I tried to, touch base upon. The second point is, from my view, I think collaboration of different tool set we have in the organization that is, again, a core concept of zero trust. I mean, we have antivirus software, we have SOC, we have encryption, DAM, a lot of things. But unfortunately, the collaboration among these technologies are missing. There are a couple of new initiatives which has come up in terms of SOAR and all, but still we have a lot of opportunity to work on collaboration of different security solutions. That also is a very core concept of zero trust. That's my personal view. And third, last but not least, is user awareness. I mean, we all know that they are weakest link for the strongest security. So, educating user is very important. So, can someone tell when the first breach happened? Any idea? So, I have a bad habit. I, connect everything with history, ancient days, and, the philosophy and all. So, according to me, somewhere around 11,000 years ago, there was first breach, first compromise. Today we are talking about next generation firewall, which may guarantee 90-95%. But at that point in time, the firewall was 100% result oriented. That is nothing but, we say, Lakshman Rekha. And I say the world's best CISO ever, Mr. Lakshman. Intruder was there in terms of Ravan. Still we have, hackers and all. And the user, Sita. So user awareness is very important, or else you deploy anything, you will not be safe. So these are the couple of things which I wanted to touch base upon to add in. Now I come to Alan, how to start journey of zero trust, how to plan, how to initiate, what should be our first step?
Yes, a lot of people ask this question basically. So the principle of zero trust is basically trust no one, always verify. Right? Trust no one, always verify. And and this eventually it comes with the concept of digital trust. Before I touch about digital trust, let me ask a question. Who today carry a pen in your pocket? Raise your hand. Who carry a pen? Yep, carry a pen, right? Good. Now, I grew up in a very poor, I won't say poor, but in a village 40 years ago. My grandfather always tell me that, hey, look at that man carrying a pen 40 years ago, a pen. This guy, he is educated, right? With a pen, it shows that the man is educated. And obviously, a doctor wearing a telescope, well, he's a doctor. There's an identity there, basically. The pen actually kind of verified the person is educated. The telescope verified the person is a doctor. 30 years ago, we have a mobile phone, Motorola. Anyone using Motorola StarTech last time, or the big Tupperware thing? It showed that you carry that actually gives you identification of you are so important to be contacted all the time. Now, we come back to digital. Today's world, everything is connected, right? Process, in a network, process, workflow, your software, your PC, your device, your CCTV is all connected. And in zero trust, you need to always trust nothing, but you have to verify. The first step before zero trust, I believe, is to have digital trust. You need to allow all the devices, all the users have an identity. Then only you'll be able to implement all the policies, all the policy, all the firewall configurations, all things that whether they can. Because there's authentications, who you are, what device you are, then you allow them to come into your network, into your system, basically. So that is my perspective. Digital trust, start with digital certificates, which is certificates, you use that to verify websites, right? You go to website every day, you use digital certificates. Emails, you sign emails using SMI certs, right? Recently, we have marked certificates that Google actually identified you as a person or as a verified email in Gmail because of the blue check there, basically. So I think this is my point of view. Digital trust should be the first step, or at least one of the steps to begin your zero trust journey.
Rightly said, Alan. In fact, earlier we used to hide something from internet being exposed in public, but the demand of situation is everything has to available on the cloud, on the internet, but we have to restrict the access to certain set of people. So interestingly, suppose if you're a security person and if you are convinced that yes, this is important, you go to your leadership team and tell, now replace everything, we are trying to come up with ZTNA and all. What will you hear? Let's replace this guy. So what should be the key consideration, coming to you, Radesh, what should be key consideration for ZTNA? And how can we leverage our existing solution, existing tools or investment into the journey?
Yeah, so this is a very good question because generally when we sit in front of our customers, the zero trust discussion, most of the time, most of the customers think that zero trust means a VPN replacement project. Before pandemic, all my assets were in one data center. I used to have one VPN tunnel, and my job, I was taking care of all the asset and authentication management at one place. But now if my applications are moved, some applications are in data center, some applications are on cloud, some application has taken the SaaS path. Now where do I have the authentication and authorization? Now industry has followed two approach. One is what we called as the SSE approach or security service edge approach. The security service edge approach says that, okay, you send, instead of having multiple tunnels, now you form the tunnel with my security service edge, and from there I will take care of all your zero trust policies, and then you can access back your SaaS or any other application. This looked good at the initial stages, and I know many organizations, they opted for this option, but after opting that option, they realized there are certain problems with this approach. The first problem, as one of the principles of zero trust, you need to have visibility. If you're sending everything to the security service edge and then it is coming back to your data center, you are not getting the IP address visibility. You will see only the IP address of security service edge. That was problem number one. Problem number two, a lot of real-time applications were not working. And that's where the concept that sir mentioned that came into picture, that okay, I need to have an hybrid approach. Certain application, I need to have a zero trust tunnel that can be formed with my local application gateway. For certain parameters, I need to go to the security services edge. Can I have this combination of both of this? What Fortinet today is talking about is this approach, and this is what we called as a fabric approach to zero trust network access. So we understand benefits of both the concept. Certain applications, they will work good if you send it to the security service edge and from there outside to internet or from there outside to your SaaS application. Yeah, you will get better security. But certain applications will need that you need to come to the application proxy which is at your data center to get the IP address visibility, or it can be a real-time application which may not work via your security service edge. So coming to the question, how this whole thing can work together? That's where the Fortinet Security Fabric story comes into picture, where we have designed a lot of open APIs. We can add certain middle layers also where your zero trust tags can be sent from my zero trust authentication server to third-party devices also. So that's the approach that Fortinet has. That's what I would like to highlight. Yeah.
Thanks, Radesh. So, Shankar, I would like to have your idea upon.
I concur, with Radesh on many of the terms, right? So, zero trust is a journey, okay? So you cannot, rely on one solution, okay? You need to have a combination of multiple tools. You need to have a strong visibility, okay, across all of them, right? And Manoj, you also mentioned that tools do not collaborate with each other, right? That's also, one of the challenge, right? There are ample of logs, okay, which security teams need to review, right? So the concrete approach is needed, okay, to, to understand that we move away from the traditional approach, right? So when I say zero trust is nothing but the enhanced version of, defense in depth, okay, which we used to have it. So security at embedded at each and every layer of organization. I also concur with Alan that he said that verify and then trust, right? That is what it should be, right? So I think no single solution will be able to meet our requirement, okay? You need to have a strong, processes around it, policies around it. Tools need to communicate with each other. And you also mentioned about the APIs. With the adoption of APIs, it is also making our life, easy from the end user perspective. However, from the security and the management perspective, it's very, very, very tough because API is still new, and we have seen, huge consumption as well as own development in the organizations. That is also, very, very important. So I think architecture, as he mentioned, visibility, okay, having an appropriate controls and continuous validating those, right? It's the way forward, okay, to build a, strong, resilient organization. That's primarily my statement. Thanks.
Thanks, Shankar. Nice, opinion, nice point of view. So one thing I would like to add that whenever you are implementing such a solution which has MFA or something like that, you need to deal with psychology of people. I mean, I'm so important. Why I need OTP to access it? I work from a location where I don't have mobile network. I don't know how they work on Insta and Facebook. So cool and calm. Educate them. If they become aware of, security, they will be sincere. They will be supportive. And if you go in, a way to administer them, you will find resistance. That also is very big challenge in implementing zero trust, handling people. In addition to that, there are a couple of areas where we don't need to interact with end user and employees. Like we are into cloud journey. So I will come back to you, Shankar, and ask you the ZTNA and the importance of ZTNA in cloud.
I think it is the most important element, right? So I have not seen, honestly, any organization which has some or small footprint on the cloud, right? You may not, from the banking perspective, you may not, move your applications, core applications on the cloud, but I have seen, non-critical applications are on cloud. From my perspective, our entire lending stack and the back office, of the trading systems are on cloud. Due to some technical limitation, trading applications we cannot move to cloud due to multicast dependency, right? So ZTNA, it's very, very important. And because when we talk about cloud, Manoj, right, we always take that this is always vendor responsibility to secure the cloud, but it is actually joint responsibility, and actually more responsibility lies with us rather than them, right? Something happens, it's actually we are impacted. So architecture, will play an important role because the cloud also talks to your on-prem environment. And as you always said, you also said, right, user resistant, right? So, regarding the OTP, so we also need to, they also want to understand that security is something, not a luxury affair, right? It was always had its own consequences when we implement. So, zero trust architecture network is needed to secure all the, elements, which are connecting to your cloud, right? And if architecture is not properly, developed or, considered at the time of implementation, today and tomorrow, something will really go wrong. And when the glitches happen at the architecture level, you're not also able to reverse it, right? Because when you implement anything from the start, right, you have the opportunity to plug the gaps, right? It is just like a moving to a new house, okay? You do all the, interior and all. It is much easy to, you go in a new house, right? But when you're already in the existing house, you also know the challenge, okay, when you renovate it, right? Things, rooms are not clean. So architecture is the, I would say first and important, element, and we should be considered. Follow all the best practices, whatever you can. Of course, 100% work cannot be done. You might have a NIST guidelines, CIS guidelines, ISO. So everyone talks about the same thing, but can you apply 100%? Answer is no, because your application should also support that. Your business dependencies are also on there, right? Whatever you can do the best, do that and take compensatory controls along with you. That will help you to, secure your app, secure your data, secure your users in a important, manner. So yeah, ZTNA, it's very, very important. You need to have a, strong layering. You need to have appropriate landing zones on the cloud. Micro segmentation, I talked. Proper access controls, encryptions, user access reviews, cloud security risk assessments. These are nothing but all the sub elements of the strong architecture. So these are very much important and involve security from the day one. Of course, most of the security team is there, but IT team have understood now that yeah, when I'm going to a cloud or evaluating any of the SaaS application pass, let's involve them and also review from the agreements. Most of the things are not covered, and it's very tough to have a strong master service agreement with the cloud provider, right? But now with the RBI new IT outsourcing guidelines and SEBI cloud security framework, agreement is must. So you need to ensure all the important clauses, confidentiality, integrity, NDA, BCP, exit management, data purging, data localization, and their reporting of incidents to us within 6 hours. This is what the certain says. All of these has to be covered. So yeah, architecture is important, Manoj, and I think it's its most critical part here.
Thanks, Radesh. So when it comes to explaining the security with our management, the major challenge what I feel is we speak the language of hyper-convergence, this, that, and they understand business language. So it's like I'm an Indian, only understand Hindi, and speaking to a South Indian guy who only understand maybe Tamil or Malayali. So both of us, we speak, we do argument, but none of them understands what exactly they want to convey. So understanding of anything must be very simple. Like when I first time come to know about ZTNA, I simply, recollected with a movie called Parmanu, where, John Abraham is there and, it's on the atom bomb and all. So at final stage, he was trying to enter to the base, military base. He had, iCard and all, and he used to come daily on the same side. Still the security guard, he asked, what is the code of today? And he was missing that song, Aaka Dariya hai, blah, blah, blah. That's a core concept. That's how we can correlate what exactly zero trust is. And when at the early age we used to, see movies like Terminator and all, we was thinking these are, imagination, nothing else. But the things are becoming true nowadays. So, AI. So according to me, AI is end of life now because it's a more or less time of generative and predictive artificial intelligence. So now we are CISOs, security team, we are fighting with hackers. Down the line, maybe 2-3 years, the AI tools will be fighting each other. How strong? Quantum computers will be used to hack the keys. So coming into that, so I'll come to you, Radesh, how important AI and ML is in ZTNA and how, what are the couple of important use cases?
Yeah. So I will take few examples on how exactly at Fortinet we are using AI and ML for the zero trust network architecture. So AI and ML can be used at 2 stages. One is when you are authenticating the users, you are traditionally looking at username, password, but your AI and ML algorithms can become more and more complicated, or you can enhance those models to look at multiple more parameters and behaviors when the user is actually getting authenticated. So that's what Fortinet is developing as a part of its own threat feed that will be pushed onto the devices. And those proxies will use not only in today's world, we are just looking at IP reputation, but in tomorrow's world, we will be looking at IP reputation, intent, and a lot of other things to find out whether that user is the user really I need to trust or I don't need to trust. The second use case of AI and ML that we have seen in zero trust was during the pandemic days. most of the guys, they were working from home. And it used to happen that you have valid users and you have certain attackers who are doing a brute force on that particular gateway using the valid username. He's putting a wrong password, but within 5 minutes, the valid username, valid users were blocked out. And it used to happen that within the organization, where close to 2,000 employees are not able to access. So in this kind of scenario, we on our SOAR platform, again, we designed a machine learning module where it learned automatically multiple parameters, and it was automatically able to predict that, okay, this is something which can generate a kind of a brute force attack, and you need to you don't need to do a user lockout, or even if the user is locked out, you need to initiate the process to release that particular user so that the business process becomes seamless. So these are certain areas where you can use AI and ML when it comes to zero trust network access.
Thanks. So, not going so long, my last question will be to Ellen. Why it is important and what kind of value it adds to any organization?
From digital perspective is that you can see that zero trust and digital trust have the same thing. It's all about trust, basically. Having a zero trust principle or architecture is good for for enterprise, as you guys know that all enterprise in the world now is going through digital transformations. Everything have to be zero trust, just to reduce the risk. I think reducing risk is important. And if something happened to organizations, some incident happened, you may lose the trust of your customers. Your customer, according to our survey, 90% of companies or customers will leave their vendor if something wrong happened. They basically lost trust, right? So I think that is important. I still believe that having identity is important. Regardless, you use the digital certificate to sign the code, proper search for your device, your search for logging into your SaaS solutions, having business transaction between B2C, B2B, having that identity, digital trust, and with that, you have zero trust. You know who are you dealing with. Yeah, I think that is good.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. And most of us, since this is FINSEC, are from BFSI. When it comes to protect our policyholder or customers' privacy data, then SPDI Act is there. According to Section 8 of SPDI, it is linked with penalties and those kind of stuff. So there is a provision of penalty of up to 5 crore rupees according to Section 43 IT Act and SPDI Section 8. If we don't have proactive and reasonable security measures within organization. So within security, I only follow 3 golden rules. I was not safe, I am not safe, and I will never be safe. So breach is something which is definite. So at that point in time, if it comes to legal consequences, then we have to take interest of those kind of stuff. So if you are ISO 27001 certified, you have reasonable security measure, then even if there is a breach, the consequences will be not that severe. With that, I will ask Puneet, and then if audience has any query.
Any questions from the audience? Okay, that was really valuable. Thank you so much to all the panelists, and I really hope the discussion will be leveraged by the audience as well. I would request the volunteers to please bring up the mementos so that we can share our respect for the panelists. Mementos, please.